Hey, today we are going to put together the Blaster Factory all aluminum E-11 basic kit. How's that sound?
I like it.
Okay, fellow builders out there, Field Marshal here, and
Kristen.
I've got Kristen the Fireball here. Today I'm going to show you how to put together the E-11 kit, which, you know, this is long overdue. I've had a lot of questions about it. It's not a hard build, but there are some tricks to it. So I'll try to break that down for you and make it as simple as possible. There is on the website, it's broken down into these assemblies. So, you know, when you get the kit, you'll have, you know, different, you know, divided up. We did that so you could also buy it, you know, assembly at a time if you didn't have the money to do the whole thing at once. So, you know, that's I did that for you guys. So, but hey, we'll get started. Going to start off with the F assembly, which is the Magwell assembly. And we've got all the pieces, you know, just like it would come in the bag here. And oh, another thing, you know, to do this build, and I think everybody in the world ought to own these things, you know, you need a flathead screwdriver and you need an Allen key set. And for this part of it, we're going to need the 1/8 inch Allen key. So we'll start off with this one. Okay, Fireball, there you go, do it. Now this is tapered, it goes in from one side, so there you go. Yep. Yeah, and what we did was we lined that up with a, that's got a 1/4-28 little grub screw, and that's what will hold it in place. Hold on, looks like you're cross-threading it. Yeah. Is that flipped over right? Yep. There is a flat on the bottom of this, so make sure that's down. That's correct. You had that right. Just line the screw up. And you know, that's a good example right there. If you're ever screwing anything together or assembling anything, and you're meeting a lot of resistance, don't force it. You know, sometimes you need to clean out threads or deburr something, or, you know, just don't, you know, like that's going in crooked.
I can't get it.
You can get it. Just don't get in a hurry.
Still doing it.
There we go. See what's going on here. Okay. Kind of a weird situation. Anytime you're trying to screw something into a round object, you're actually starting the thread on two edges. So just like Fireball was running into here, be real careful, make sure it's going in straight, because it's real easy to cross thread things. There you go. She's going to actually turn that until it goes through, all the way through this part into the Magwell, and make the little grub screw go flat there. There you go. It should be flush. Going through. There you go. That lined up. Okay. Let's keep going. Yep. Now, that's flush here, but it's a little too far because inside here the screw's gone all the way into the Magwell, and if you do that, you won't be able to get your mag in. So just back it off until it's just right below that. Beautiful. And that actually puts that in the right position. Magnificent. Good work. Good girl. Good girl. Yes. Now, this is the mag release. It's got a spring on it, and you can see the boss that's on right here goes in the hole, in the countersunk hole here in the pocket. There you go. This is what catches the mag, and notice we have the right stampings on it, you know, just like the real one. So a little detail there, a little bit of screen accuracy, paying homage to the original markings on the vintage guns, vintage Sterlings. There you go. That's right, yes, push it in there and screw it in. Yep. There you go. Yeah, Kristen Fireball here is joining us today. She pulls all these parts, answers all your questions, but she doesn't get a lot of opportunity to actually assemble some of this stuff. So, you know, it's a learning experience today for her too. This is the simple part here. The next thing, I don't think this goes on next. This is the mounting screw, so that when we put it in the body tube, this is what attaches this onto the main body here. You know, on the real Sterling, obviously these are steel. This is brazed on, which is really, you know, you've got to do that on a real machine gun, but that wasn't something we were going to be able to do real easily or cheap to make the kit, you know, where a user could assemble it. So that's why I found another way of attaching this. So we'll get back to this later. So okay, we'll set that aside. That assembly F is completed. Okay, and next thing we're going to go to, and this is a good one here, is the trigger frame assembly, and that's coming up next. Well, on the real Sterling, trigger frame is brazed on, and I had to find a way to kind of mimic the layering that it has with the trigger group and all this stuff in the grip, the way it goes on. So that was a pretty interesting thing we had to do for that. You can see that and how this goes on. Well, first thing is we've got our body tube here, and I wanted to be able to attach the trigger frame, you know, onto the body tube without having to weld anything, because that'd been impossible to, you know, in a kit form. So we've got the lug back here for the stock, and we're going to use that for placement of the trigger frame. So first things first, though, when you get the kit, this is already assembled, because we do it we sell it separately, and you know, it's just easier to put all the pieces together. It's kind of a complex little assembly, but I'm gonna get Fireball to pull it apart real quick. So go ahead and take that screw out, and we'll pull it apart, show them the pieces to it. Yeah, just yank the frame off the bottom. Grit your teeth, pull hard. There you go. Yep, there, like on the real frame, you got a screw in the bottom, which, you know, in this prop, it's not load bearing. On the real Sterling, obviously, this holds this grip on there pretty solid. So, but that is good for looks here. Now we take that little piece out, and you're gonna need
You're
gonna need a little screwdriver here. See if that's small enough. That's a Phillips head. Will that get in there? Yeah. These little teeny 256 screws. Okay, and got that piece, which mimicking that. If you can see that real good. Okay, I even have the engravings on it, the ARS. Okay. Fun part here, love this. We've machined the internals here, and you know, to give it the split like in the real frame has. Which, where'd the trigger group go? You've got those pieces there, so we wanted to imitate that look. And also it has a built-in 3-way electronic switch, which there are guys out there making electronics now that that'll utilize this, so you can have, you know, all three functions. So you can have the safety, stun, and you know, the blaster sound, and the safety lever here, it just presses on. Okay, and let's see what's next here. There's a little side plate we need to take off, and it just presses on, I think, here. See if we can get that apart very carefully here. There we go. Better be watching, Fireball, because you got to put it back together. I'm good at taking it apart, but you're gonna have to put it back together.
I'll try.
Okay. Oh, there it went. The pin for the trigger flew off there. Trigger guard, had those stamped out, and they are almost just pretty much identical to the real one, so that worked out really good. It even has the little concaved, you can't see it real well, but you know, they are formed and they are correct. So they mount on hooks are in the back here like the real one, got the dowel in the front, and you've also, this may be glued in, but you've got your three-way switch. It just presses in, and you know, that's pretty much it. So there you go. I'm going on break. Put that back together.
I hear you.
Yeah, look at.
Well, now it's not pressed on.
Yeah,
so.
You're setting it down. It's hitting. It's pushing all this stuff away. The back of it, of this piece, has all the contours to lock in place. So just hold it like that. And there you go. Snap that together. Hold on to it, and then you might have to line the trigger hole back up, but. There you go. Yep. That pin there. There we go. Okay. Now, screw the, let's put it on that side so it won't come apart again. And put these side pieces back on. Yeah, I went ahead and disassembled that, so you know, a lot of you guys might get in there just to wire things up. So I wanted you to kind of see what we did in there. Okay. Well, yeah, here. That'll quit falling apart now that you got the side on.
Gotta line it back up though. Can't see.
Yeah, hold it more here so they can see what you're doing. Sometimes you can take this and kind of help you get the hole lined up. Stick something in there to get it started. There you go. Okay. Everybody see that? Okay. There you go. Is that okay? Can you see that? These little screws here. There you go. Lined up. There you go. Nice. And next, the inside of the grip. Now, a lot of people, there's always some kind of plastic grip, blah, blah, blah. Well, I had these laser scanned and a custom mold, injection mold made for these. And the guy that made the mold, he had to, by hand, engrave all of these little diamond knurls in it. The guy it was crazy how he did it. I mean, I can't believe people do that by hand still, but it turned out really well. And I even have a lot of the internal features in the replica that the real one has, and hopefully you can see that pretty good there. But it's actually got a slot that aligns everything. Yeah, there you go. Get it at the right angle. That's it. Everything fits up there real snug and tight. Now, just let's see if that's all the way up. There we go. And then you got that bad boy. Make sure we don't cross thread it. It's fine threads, takes a zillion turns. And there again, if it doesn't line up and you got to force it, stop and make sure you're not cross threading something. Magnificent. Now just press that on, and it is keyed. There's a flat spot, and that you can keeps it in position. Voila! That way you got the three positions. Okay, and then in the top of the trigger, this is what gives it tension, and this will push up against the body. So don't lose that. Okay, keep up with that. So that's assembly J. Notice the two button head screws here. They're not screwed all the way in. Okay, they're raised up 1/8 of an inch or so, and the pitch between them, space between them, corresponds with these slots right here. Okay, so that enables us to drop this in there, slide it back into position. And while you do that, you got to make sure this little spring stays in position, because that's when that butts up against the body here, that's what's going to give you the spring tension. So there we go. Perfect. See how she slid those into those slots? It locked, it fell back, locked against the lug there, and that's what you want to see. That puts it in the right position. Now, the tricky part to this is 1/8 inch Allen key. We're going to go through the ejection port and the charging handle slot to tighten those screws up. Make sure you get them snug, real snug, because if you don't, and this is loose later on, this is going to be flopping around, and you're going to have to pull the whole assembly apart to get back to it, because next thing we're going to put the bolt in there, and that's going to cover them up. So see if you can, it's hard to see in there. You might have to use a ball end Allen key, by the way, so that it'll tighten up at an angle. Okay. Yeah, snug it up real good. There you go. Now the front one there. Let's see if I can. There you go. Now this one you can get the Allen key in like she's doing here, and we'll put some pressure on it. Okay, leave the key in there. You see kind of what we did there is she already got this pretty tight. You just fit it in there, and that should be good. That actually pulled this up against the body real nice and tight, and after you paint this, you'll never see it. So there we go. So trigger frame's on, secured. Took our stock lug off, and we need to go ahead and put our Magwell on, because after we put the bolt in, which is next, we won't be able to do it. So hole here, 1/4 20 screw, and we're using a 5/32 Allen wrench. Okay, so I will hold this in position if you want to do that. And there again, it helps to do it. Stick the screw up through there, through the bottom. There you go. We'll work with gravity. There you go. Okay. Now that. Okay. Give it a couple turns. Okay, now she got it started. We'll turn it this way. It's really neat how this mounts, because it will actually cinch up really tight right there. And there again, get it tight. It's your last chance. So that is on there really nice. Good work. Okay, now we need to put the bolt together. And let me show you a couple cool things about it. This is a real sterling bolt, and you got a little extractor here, spring loaded, a pin there. The cutouts and the counter bores for the spring. Now on the bolt for this one, I did it to where this is gone. I made a big cutout, so when this thing is in place here, you've got a lot of room for wires to pass by this thing. It'd be this way, sorry. The wires can get up under it and get to the Magwell, which, you know, I know a lot of you, you know, want to use the mag, you know, as a place to put batteries, electronics, whatever you want to do, and you can get the wires up to the barrel if you're putting lights in it, whatnot. You know, there's several companies, like I said, that are, you know, using the three-way switch here, so you've got access to route all that stuff. So, okay, let's put that in there. So, let's see. First things first. There's a little spring drops in there. It'll work right here. That way you can see it. Yep, I got it. Yep, next you have the little follower pin. Oh wow, I got it. Nice. Okay. Yeah, now the fun part. You gotta put the extractor part here, the little hook. So you flip it over. And there is a hole on the side. And oh, I got it started. Go back and get your trusty little ball peen hammer and tap it. And look at that. Cool. That way when it's in the side here, it looks like the real thing. Okay. Now, also notice there's a groove on the bottom. That will give us clearance for the screw heads for the trigger frame and the screws that are going to stick through from the back cap catch here. So let's go ahead and do that. And we need G here, which is the whole spring pack. And I'll show you this too. I got a real one so you can see the difference. Now obviously the springs on the real one are a lot heavier duty and a lot stronger. So, and I actually reduced the length of this one so that it's not so hard, you know, because this is an aluminum casting. This thing is made to, you know, to deal with the recoil of a real machine gun. So let's see what we can do here. And also, another part we're going to need is the charging handle. And you can see this. See the flats on each side? Those look nearly identical. And we'll go ahead and do that. First things first, this follower here has a hole for the counter bore, and I'll put that there and stick the charging handle in there. There you go. And that right there is backwards. It's going to be this way because that's how your hand would pull it back. There you go. And the rest of it does this right here. Nice. Yep. Back cap. Okay. Back cap. Tricky little thing here. It's got a couple little bosses in here for the little zigzags so that it turns in and locks in like the real one. I'll let you deal with that. Flip it the other way. That's the bottom. Yes, those are going to be that one right there, and that top one. You see that top boss right there? That's going to start right here.
Right.
There you go. Look at that. Beautiful. Now on the real sterling, this back cap, I thought I had one here. Here it is. When you get spring tension on it, it pushes it back a little bit. A lot of people put these or want to glue them on to where they're up against. That's not how it works. This thing actually pops back a little bit, and this one's going to do the same thing, just like the real one. So, good deal. That assembly is done. Now, let's see. What do you think what to do next? I guess we can put the put that back on. Okay, I'll hold it in place. If you'll need an 1/8 inch Allen key, and that is right here. Now make sure this is seated good. Bed it real good in place on the tube, and line those screw holes up really well. You don't want to cross thread these. These will also act, the screw's going to go all the way through the tube, and this is also going to act like a stop. Let's see if I can hold this in line better for you. Did you get it? Hold on, we're not aligned. See it?
Yeah, it's way far up here. There we go.
Let me get it out of the groove here. Hang on a sec. There you go.
That's the problem.
Yeah, I had it hooked up front. There you go. These screws, like I was saying, they go all the way through into the body tube. They'll act as a bolt stop. I know everybody wants to rack it and let it slam forward, but if you do, you're going to break stuff on this thing. It's an aluminum casting. It's not made to be, you know, shucking the thing for, you know, racking up bullets. It's a blaster. So, but it does have enough movement for some of the electronic kits have switches in them so that you can, you know, make a charging sound. So it does have a little movement. There you go. Okay. Nice. Beautiful. In the groove there. There it went. Okay. Okie dokie. Next, we need to, we're getting to the point where we've got to put the front assembly in, the barrel, but first we need to put the bayonet lug in. There again, the barrel is going to block our ability to be able to assemble it. So 3/32 Allen key, and there's a hole here for it, just like, let's see, I've got a real one here. Where'd I put it? There we go. Notice the position and the shape of it. Got a notch back here and a little swoop in the front. It's positioned between these two on the higher side. So we'll go ahead and do that. Now you get the screw in here from the bottom through the adjacent hole. So is that it? Yep. And there again, we're going to use gravity to help us here. And I'm going to position that. There you go. And she can tighten it down. And there again, get it real tight. You don't want, if it comes loose after this, after you do the other stuff, you're going to have to pull it back apart. So, okay, bayonet lug in place, barrel time, barrel, front sight, all that mess. So, here we go. Here's the barrel. Both of these pieces screw on from each end. I do have flats cut in them because they need to pass by the button that's sticking in here. So, you know, the button head, so you can still assemble it. And I'll show you a real one here. I did this a little bit different than the real barrel. There's the front of the real one. And obviously we're not making a machine gun here, so we don't need to go through all that. But it is hollow. You can run wires and put lights down it if you want to. Notice the front, how I've got these things cut out. Front sight has a hole in it, and it is actually going to be held in place on this little boss right here. And you want to make sure that everything's cleaned up on it. If you have to sand or clear the hole or file it a little bit, you want to make sure this goes down on there and does that. If you have to force it on there, you're going to break it. It's a casting, so be careful of that. Okay. And next is, once you get that on there inside, this piece here, the front nose piece, like on the real Sterling here, notice we've got the shape. And this piece here is actually brazed in and rolled, you know, the tube is. we couldn't do that. I mean, it'd be too hard for somebody to assemble that. So that's actually on our front piece here. And when we put it on, it will have that same look. So next, we're going to cinch all this together with these socket head screws. Now, this is a detail that every builder I see that builds E11s, because most of them are, I won't comment on some of the 3D printed ones, but they have terrible detail, and this is a really cool detail. But these socket heads, I hope you can see this. If not, try to take an individual picture. But instead of having the standard slots, around it, like what we buy today, these are actually have this really fine, cool knurling around them. And I've actually made these and replicated them. They come with the kit, so they look really authentic. Okay, now I'll spin this around because this is we'll have to get this lined up. Okay, that's all you. That's you, and I think what Allen key do you want here? 3/32. Yep. No, 3/16. 3/16 Allen key. Okay, and we'll go ahead and slide this in here without too much trouble here. And I want to try to get this lined up with that boss on the top as best I can. I don't think does that look pretty close? Mm-hmm. Okay, you can see that. Okay, because now I'm going to put this in here.
Spring loaded.
Yep, and the barrel is spring loaded from the bolt, as Kristen discovered here. So you want to put that in there, and hopefully we are pretty close to being lined up. And it is almost. There it is. There you go. There it is, right in the hole there. You see that? Don't force it. Okay, very important. Don't force it. If it doesn't fit correctly, do a little filing, make sure there's no flashing on it, because if you break it, then you're going to have to text me and beg me for a new one. Okay, now, yep. Okay, yeah, this piece here, there's two cutouts. So this is on the bottom to allow clearance for the hook from the stock, and then there's a dovetail right here, which you'll see in the next step when we put the front sight. It's going to slip into that. So that goes in dovetail up and pushes against everything here, and the screws go in. Gotta hold your mouth right. Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Beautiful. Oh yeah, it's cinched up. That's good. There you go. Look at that. Nice. Okay, front sight. Nifty little guy here. Might be hard to see it in the real one. It's got a kind of a pyramid type shape, and it's got this little blade sight piece on here, which we're going to go ahead and take out, because to lock it down I have a little set screw in here. So we need to, I think that is a 5/64 if I remember. Yes, see that in the bottom? That's what we're going to lock it in place with. So first things first, there we go, and get that centered up and tighten it down. There you go. Awesome. Now with your little fingers you can screw that in.
I'll try.
I use a pair of needle nose sometimes and do it, but you can never get it started.
Oh, yeah, it's already started.
It's probably not easy because there you go. Maybe
it's sideways a little.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh.
Notice these working girl hands and all these band-aids on her. This girl.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah. There's no manicure here.
Okay.
There you go. You just screw that down basically until you get what you want. Get it lined up there, and there you go. There's that. Okay. Next, let's see. I think we've got but two last things here to get the basic thing built is to put the rear sight and the catch here. So let's go ahead and do this one. Okay. Yep, there's two little screws that hold it on, and I think this is the same Allen key. No. This is the 1/16th, I think. Yep, 1/16th. And on the, where's my part here? I was going to show you the real one here. Oh, here it is, next to the thing. This keeps this thing from, won't allow it to twist back off. So we want to do that. Notice got the knurling on here, just like the real one. And notice that the little set screw, actually this is a drive pin on this. It doesn't come out very easy. I'm using a set screw. It looks just like it. So, and it's kind of biased toward this side. So we want to make sure we put this on correctly, which is going to be in reverse here. So we're going to do it. It will actually be, that's right, it goes this way. So I would go ahead and drop both of these screws in here, and then I'll hold it up slightly so you can get them both started there. Okay. Okay. Yeah, they're little fiddly screws, so get backing up a little bit. Hold on a second. Alignment. There we go. Yeah, these little I'm getting stuck. There we go. There again, tighten it down, because once you put this on, you'll have to totally take all this back out. Okay. Now what we're going to do, notice these two little knobs right here, they're on here too. They face up. We want to, there's a little hole in here where this spring goes, and then we're going to put this little screw here. And if you can't get it in there, sometimes I put it on. Oh, you got it. You're in it. I use Allen key to kind of line it up. Yep, there you go. You had it. You messed with it too much. There you go.
Does it fall down in there?
Yeah, well, you have to push it a little bit. But okay. There you go. Get that little spring in there. Okay. Now, make sure that Allen key works on that. Isn't that 330? Use the long end. Is that it? Okay. It is. So. I think you've got it over here.
It's the smallest one.
50 thousandths.
Yep.
50 thousandths Allen key. That is the smallest one in your pack. I will hold this in place while you run that through.
I'm gonna let go of it now, I think.
Keep it in alignment for the other side. There you go. Look at that. Awesome. So you got the same deal. You have to raise and lower that to take that off. Okay. Done? Okay. Sight on the rear of the E-11 blaster. Let's take a look at the one on the real Sterling here. Okay. Now, this one's actually a different variant of it. It has a different... Just let it out. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Well, anyway... This is a different variant here. Thanks, Fireball. It has a different knurling on it. The ones on screen actually have the straight knurling, so I think you can see that. So, okay. Well, got your little flip sight here. Make sure the large hole's down. This goes in one piece. The mount's a little different. This is brazed on the real one. We don't have the luxury of doing that. So flip sight goes in there, and I made these little push pins to go in to mimic the flared pins that they put in. And what you do is you get these lined up with the flip side on the side. You could probably do this. Fireball, I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe. So just need a hammer. Now there's two ways you can do this. If you've got a bench vise, I'd put it in there and just clamp it and just press them together. If you don't, you know, you can do it with a hammer. Just knock them in like that on both sides, and you should end up with something like this. So, and you got a second one here too. That's not quite all pressed together, but you can tell what's going on there. Okay, this is not real difficult. Gonna need a small screwdriver. That one may be too big. You might have to get the trusty little snap-on screwdriver here. And goes down through that hole. And also, while we're doing this, I'll show you how this goes on. This sight rail, we'll go ahead and do it too. That way you get to see how that does. Now, you're going to want to put your M38 scope mounted on here, and if you got a Heinz or counter, I made a flange here so you can run a screw into that too. So, okay, yeah, set it in there. Yep. And what it does, make sure the hole's forward. It's going to line up there, and that's good. That'll hold it in place so you can stick the screw in there.
Okay.
There you go. Beautiful. Look at that. One E-11. And on our website on Blaster Factory, I actually have a good many of these vintage Sterling mags, which we cut down so that they're ready to go for you, and you'd have a whole little setup there. So once you get that, you can. I'll do this in a different video. I'll show how I've got a kit for a Heinzler counter and M38 scope. Also, later on, I'll do a video on doing T-track too. So, well, I hope this has been helpful. You know, and I'm Phil Marshall, Chris Vandenberg, and who are you again?
Better than you, sidekick.
Yeah, that's my better than something sidekick. Great. Thanks for watching our channel. Make sure you follow our YouTube channel, and if you need anything, go to blasterfactory.com, and if you've got questions on this build or anything, don't hesitate to text me.